Thank you for watching. Thank you to those of you who already watched me reading the Quran. I'm not done with that project, but I'm disappointed in the low number of views that I am getting there. I'm disappointed because it's important for us to understand other religions and cultures. It should be everybody's hobby. And there are literally millions of people over the many hundreds of years, or thousands, has it been, over time I'm sure the body counts more than 1 million people who have died because of Muslims who believed that they should fight those who do not believe. And so it's important to understand, are they obeying their religion, or are they doing something different than what their religion teaches? How do you know what a religion teaches? Well, the most important and basic thing you can do to understand a religion is read their scriptures. In other words, read their holy books. Read their books that are the fundamental building block of their religion. And read their books that they believe God gave them. For a Muslim, what book is that? It is the Noble Quran. And so, I have read through the Quran more than once now, and for my third Quran reading, I'm going through it in front of a camera so the whole world can find out what it says. And this should get everyone's attention. Everyone should want to find out what it says. And I am doing minimal, extremely little commenting. I could understand if people didn't want to watch a lot of me commenting and a little of the Quran. But that's not what my videos are. My videos are me reading the Quran with extremely little commenting. And so non-Muslims should be eager to find out what it actually says. Instead of, you can't trust all news sources because some reporters are liars. So watch what the book actually says. I'm disappointed that Muslims are not watching it in greater numbers. And I'm disappointed in that because, Muslims out there, do you love the Quran? Then here's a chance for you to hear the Quran, you English-speaking Muslims. Muslims who are not native English speakers who want to learn English. This is a great chance for you to learn English. Just like listening to my religion scriptures in a different language, if I'm trying to learn that language, would be a good way to, start to learn that language. So maybe Muslims don't really care about their religion. Maybe Muslims don't think about their religion. Not sure what the reason is. Now, these Qurans I'm reading, there isn't an official Quran like there is an official certain other things. When it comes to the Bible, there's a version, Douay Rheims, I think is still the one that Catholics use. That is the Catholics' translation. And if you wanted to find out what Catholics believe, that's the Bible to get a hold of, not one that a Protestant prefers to use or some other translation. And so the Qurans I'm using is one that was printed in Saudi Arabia. So I'm very confused. I'm extremely confused by a Muslim who said to me he watched one of my podcasts, and thank you for watching, but I was using a Quran that had been corrupted like the Bible and the Torah, or like the Bible and the Torah. But I was using a Bible printed in Saudi Arabia. If we can't trust that to tell us what the Quran... Did I say Bible? I was using a Quran. I am using a Quran printed in Saudi Arabia. If we can't trust that Quran to find out what the Quran actually says, there's no hope and nobody should be a Muslim and we should all give up on it. It is... anyone who says we can't trust the Quran printed in Saudi Arabia to know what the Quran says is accusing the Quran of being a worthless book that's not written in a human language, because anything written in one language can be translated into another language if somebody knows both languages. One reason I am disturbed by the lack of views is because I want Muslims to do to me what I did to David Michael. And now some of you are wondering, who's that? What did you do to him? Hammond 9631? I'll tell you. David Michael is an atheist who made a podcast named My Book of Mormon Podcast, wherein he read the Book of Mormon. And I watched it. I watched every episode of him reading the Book of Mormon. I've given up on watching him anymore, because it's not just him. But when it was just him reading my scriptures, even though he commented on it, I was still willing to listen to him. He commented on a lot of it. Well, the ratio of comments on his thing compared with the books he was reading was very high. I haven't been counting it out, this is an estimate, but only about 2% of me commenting and 98% of what I do is me actually reading the Quran. So you don't have that reason to not want to watch me read the Quran. It's not me reading 1 minute of the Quran and then spending 10 minutes or 60 minutes or some big number talking about it. My podcast is the Quran. So what I did to him is I watched him. And I am not the only member of my church who watched him. I'm sure of that because his most watched episodes are up into the thousands of views. And that's on YouTube. He made a podcast out of it. I don't know how many views his podcast got. I did a quick search a minute ago. Wasn't able to find it. And one other reason to be certain that David Michael got support from members of my church when he was reading our scriptures is he received donations. Apparently, operating a podcast costs money, whereas a YouTube video, other than the camera to record it and a computer to upload it, is free. And people sent him donations that were TBM, True Believing Mormons. So I'm disappointed that Muslims are not doing to me the same thing that I did to somebody else who was reading my scriptures on the internet. And in fact, they've got more incentive. They should feel more eager to watch me than I felt to watch David Michael, because I'm doing extremely little amounts of commenting, and David Michael did a lot of commenting. My rough estimate of David Michael's ratio of actual reading to commenting is 60 reading, 40 commenting. And, okay, the reason that I don't want to watch any more of David Michael's My Book of Mormon podcast is towards the end there, he got a ex-member of the church, and an ex-member of the church named Bryce blank and something. And Bryce did not know what he was talking about. If Bryce was actually a member of the church at one point in the past, he was not active, or he was not attentive, or some other reason. He did not know what we actually do and what was going on. So it was annoying to hear somebody give wrong answers or wrong explanations, and or say, well, I don't know. Well, if you're supposed to be there on the podcast because you're a member, or a member, and know what's going on, you should not be saying, I don't know, very often. But it completely changed the flavor of the podcast when it went from one atheist reading a book for the first time and commenting to one atheist and somebody who did not know what he was talking about, who was supposed to have known what he was talking about. So thank you for watching this one. Thank you to those of you who have watched me reading the Quran. I'm confused why more people aren't doing that. Share it. I remember when I was watching the My Book of Mormon podcast when they were new. I was watching them when they were coming out. I told other members of my church about it. I was spreading the word so other people could watch and hear the Book of Mormon while they were doing laundry, driving, or other things that would keep them from actually holding a book up and reading it. And my broadcast, my videos of the Quran, do that for you Muslims who want to keep yourself up to date on what the Quran says. When your hands are tied up doing something like laundry or cooking or cleaning, but you're not cleaning with something making noise, you can get your Quran study in by listening to me read what the Quran says. I'm using 2 Qurans just in case there's a bad translation, and one of them was printed in Saudi Arabia. You have a good day.